All right, guys, happy Wednesday. Now, I know you guys want the JFK files, the update on that. Is there anyone better equipped to go through those files than me? Probably not, but obviously we're not going to be able to do that in one day. 80,000 documents being dumped, everyone crawling through them, trying to sort through what's fact, what's fiction, also what's even new. Some of them were actually old, and I think that was an intentional strategy. It seems like it's a bit of a distraction to just dump all of that at once. I will definitely have an update for you guys on that tomorrow. Today, I've got that Ryan Reynolds filing, which is absolutely something to be seen. It's a sight to be seen. He wants to be completely dismissed from the lawsuit. He wants out on the lawsuit. So I'll have that for you. Plus updates on Harvey. You're probably wondering why we are delaying a bit. Well, I have an answer for you as to why that's happening. So let's jump right in. Welcome back to Candace. A lot happening, ladies and gentlemen. I got to tell you, my phone has not stopped ringing since yesterday, obviously. Between the JFK files dropping, also the Daily Wire news dropping, every reporter under the sun is calling me about that. People are pinging me, expecting me to do a deep dive on the JFK files, which we will do. I also, next week, want to get into the Brian Kohberger case. I got to get into that, guys. The whole backstory there is crazy. I instantly, with my producer in the room as the witness, said that something is weird about this case. Something is not adding up about this case. The second it was announced, something fell off to me, and there's a lot of developments happening there, and I am the right person to look into all of these things. But unfortunately for today, we're going to have a shortened episode because I have a lot going on in my life at this moment. A lot of updates to give you. First and foremost, let's jump right into Ryan Reynolds. So I left you, the last time we covered this on Monday, I was telling you that something that was really interesting was this guy's perspective, the husband's perspective, like, hey, obviously, like, this guy's gay, no hard feelings, but this is not how straight men text. And it was really hilarious and also kind of cut through all of the red tape. And I had also mentioned to you that Ryan Reynolds, obviously, we figured this out by now, kind of creates these characters of himself. Like, there is actually no difference between Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds. That's the reason why the character is successful. It's actually him. And what better way to become successful than really just playing yourself and the person that you are? And my producer reminded me, I had seen the first Deadpool, but there's this scene, I don't think I can actually say it, a really gross graphic scene regarding Ryan Reynolds in a sex scene that indicates maybe quite a bit now when we re-examine his characters over the years. But I had mentioned to you that also on Family Guy, they had done this thing where they were very heavily implying that Ryan Reynolds was gay. Unbeknownst to me, Ryan Reynolds actually played Ryan Reynolds in the Family Guy skit. So he acquiesced to this. And it's not the first time that he's done it, where he's written himself into a skit and wanted it to be about homosexuality. It's just a coincidence, I guess, but here is the clip from Family Guys.
You gotta taste this lamb tagine. Here.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Come on, you'll love it.
Just a taste.
That was intense, what you just did.
Lots of flavors. Whoops.
Whoa, freeze frame. What's gonna happen next?
I think I gotta go to the bathroom.
And then they go on and they have this confrontation where he's like, no, I'm not gay. But again, why does he feel the need to like write that in so many different scenes? And here's where it's going to get weird. You let me know when you're uncomfortable, okay? So Ryan Reynolds also did this skit. There was a lot of funny humor about the fact that he was not Ryan Gosling because women, obviously, during the time The Notebook came out, preferred Ryan Gosling. They loved Ryan Gosling. And he leaned into this repeatedly by pretending to be Ryan Gosling in The Notebook, but preferring to redo those scenes with men, I suppose. I'm not Ryan Gosling, hence the Andrew Garfield kiss at the Golden Globes. We'll get to that. But watch this between him and Conan O'Brien.
It wasn't over. It still isn't.
The kiss is still happening. The kiss is still happening. It's still happening. It's still going on. It's still happening. I just wanted to let you guys know that it was just still happening. It's a lot. It just kept going on. And that was 25 seconds, and it looks like they cut some of it. So it probably went on for longer than 25 seconds. Again, is it always just a bit? Here he is in a more clear picture of him kissing Andrew Garfield for the same reasons, to take Ryan Gosling's moment at the 2017 Golden Globes.
The Golden Globes moment everyone is talking about.
There he is.
But if you blink, you might have missed it. Ryan Reynolds and Andrew Garfield shared a smooch.
Okay. And then also, unbeknownst to me, he was also in the movie Ted, that stuffed animal, and he had a moment with Patrick Warburton, and they decided to be funny and kiss. And he did it again at the Genie Awards, because it's really funny. He kissed a fellow Canadian actor, Scott Thompson. Now, of that moment, we just have a photo of it. It just is a recurring bit, okay? I just wanted to let you guys know it's a recurring bit, and it's just a bit. He's just acting. There's nothing more to be seen there. He just likes to write these skits and these bits at award shows, and also when he's on these late-night talk shows, and also writes that a lot into his character. When he can control the script, he thinks it's funny to imply that he's gay. Take from that what you will. Okay, so anyways, they obviously, meaning Justin Baldoni's team, have been going after Ryan Reynolds for defamation, extortion, false light, intentional interference with contractual relations. They presented a very strong argument as to all of those claims, 6 of them. And I would say, having reviewed this case, having from the very beginning noticed, I think I was kind of the first one who said, no, Ryan is problematic here, because I had a source that had said that to me, that Ryan was the person who came onto set and essentially took things over after Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively allegedly were getting along great. He was filming Deadpool and Wolverine, came back, and then kind of just blew everything up, figuratively speaking. Ryan, I would say, in my opinion, is plausibly the most guilty party of this entire thing, okay? He has just been publicly humiliating Justin Baldoni as soon as he could, as many times as he could, and using as many A-list actors as he could. And we have not even seen his text messages yet. Like, this is just what we've been able to discern from Deadpool skits, It Ends With Us skits, birthday messages to Sandra Bullock, really wacky stuff. So the idea that Ryan's going to come to court and claim that he is wrongly named in this lawsuit, it just sort of offends my sensibilities a little bit. Just like it offends my sensibilities to keep telling me that you keep writing yourself as a homosexual man into all of these various circumstances, and no one's allowed to question that. But anyways, he did file to be dismissed from the lawsuit, which I would say, by the way, that is standard. You're at first going to try to throw anything at the wall and say, Your Honor, I don't even want to be a part of this thing. This has nothing to do with me. And so he has committed to this filing. And his lawyers are just not fun to read. They don't give us the pietistic bastion of the media. They don't give us that entry point. And they open up with a rather glorious thesis. And that thesis is essentially that Ryan is actually such a good guy that he kind of had to be a bad guy. I'm not kidding. That's kind of the overarching thesis that's going on here. It starts out with the top of page 1 of it. Blake Lively sued Jamie Heath, Justin Baldoni, etc., after they collectively launched a retaliatory social manipulation campaign to destroy and bury her because she privately spoke up about sexual harassment and inappropriate conduct. And it goes on, so what does Ryan Reynolds have to do with that, legally speaking, other than being a supportive spouse who has witnessed firsthand the emotional, reputational, and financial devastation that Miss Lively has suffered? And then they say nothing. He's got nothing to do with that whatsoever. Then beginning on page 2, they move to dismiss the first part of the claim, a defamation claim, while sort of also copping to the fact that Ryan Reynolds did call Justin Baldoni a predator. Remember, they had in their lawsuit said that he went up to a guy that worked at WME. This was allegedly at the Deadpool and Wolverine premiere, and said, you need to let go of him from WME because he's a sexual predator. And their argument to that is, well, Ryan believed that that was true. Ryan believed that he was a predator, and therefore this is not problematic because he believed it. The exact language is the entirety of the plaintiff's defamation claim appears to be based on the 2 times that Mr. Reynolds allegedly called Mr. Baldoni a predator. But the FAC, which is just the initial filing, the filing of the amended complaint, alleges no plausible facts that suggest that Mr. Reynolds did not believe this comment to be true. Calling someone a predator amounts to constitutionally protected opinion. So I want to tell you that this is actually the strongest part of their argument that's being made, because I will say truthfully, it's a good defense. It's not strong enough to get him dropped from this lawsuit or dismissed, but an actual belief in the claim would be sufficient enough to prove that there was no actual malice, right? That Ryan Reynolds was not acting in reckless disregard to the truth. And I actually do believe that Ryan Reynolds has demonstrated that he's a narcissist. He's a total narcissist. He cannot comprehend a world. I truly believe he cannot comprehend a world in which him and his wife are not liked. This entire lawsuit, I believe, happened because him and Blake Lively were deluded enough to believe that it was inorganic traffic online. Like this, there's no way people don't like us. We're so wonderful. We're so amazing. We're so hot. We're so pretty. Our friends are rich. We know Taylor Swift. The world loves us. Like, come on, look at us. We just wake up and birds start singing and Skittles start falling from the sky. Now, like I said, irrelevant. It's not going to work in my view in order to get an outright dismissal, because the judge would have to believe that in the process, the next process, which has to take place, which would be the limited discovery, that they wouldn't actually find that he did explicitly defame him in text messages, that it's just going to be that he called him a predator. I don't think that's the case. I don't think the judge is going to believe that's the case. If he was behaving that way publicly, just imagine what his text messages are going to say about Justin Baldoni. If he was willing to call him a predator publicly, as he assumed this nice pool character, just imagine what we're going to find when we can read text messages between him and Hugh Jackman, not to be confused with Hugh Hefner, and show that he, definitely probably called him a few more names. And regarding that nice pool character, they kind of get a little bratty here. They claim it's not actionable because it's satire. They write, calling someone a predator amounts to constitutionally protected opinion. And the FAC's, the filing amended complaints, thin-skinned outrage over a movie character, the satirical woke nice pool, does not even pretend to be tied to any actual legal claims. Instead, it falls into the FAC's general allegation of quote-unquote hurt feelings. That's a pretty, I would say, risky argument to make in the court of public opinion. So everything is falling down for you guys because people perceive you as bullies. And you're essentially saying a bully argument, which is, so what, big deal, sorry your feelings are hurt, but this isn't a rise to an actual claim. It's completely invalid. We can make fun of you if we want. We can bully you in nice pool if we want. Is there a legal argument that satire is protected speech? Yes, there absolutely is. But if I was their lawyer, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have used that language. Thin-skinned outrage, essentially, over us bullying you. That doesn't make you look good on paper. It doesn't make you look good in the court of public opinion. It makes you look like what you actually are, which are a bunch of bullies who think can get away with everything. And I would imagine that both courts at this moment matter to you and your wife. So not a good argument to make. Outside of a legal scope, probably, the nice pool character is not going to be actionable, if I'm being frank. Then they go on to claim that Ryan Reynolds' extortion claim is invalid because he, quote, fails to allege that he received any money or property. Okay, that's a completely ridiculous argument to say, well, you can't prove that this was extortion because Ryan didn't personally receive any money or property is just dumb. There's no other way to say it. It's legally dumb because that's not the only way that extortion works, okay? So extortion is not limited legally to having received money or property. The legal definition of extortion is, quote, obtaining something of value like money or property or services from someone by using threats or coercion, including the threat of harm, the exposure of secrets, or false claims of official rights. That last part is really important. Exposure of secrets or false claims of official right. That is exactly what they are demonstrating, what they are alleging, Justin Baldoni and co. are alleging, is that they were behind the scenes in order to receive what? Well, control over the movie, right? There is evidence that this is exactly what Ryan Reynolds and his wife did in order to take control of the movie, that they went to the studio heads, that they went to the executives of Sony, and at first threatened to walk away from the movie entirely. We've already seen that in the email proof. Like, this is not a negotiation. This is a hostage situation. Here's how it's going to go. She's not coming back unless you agree to these 17 redundant claims. Okay, well, that is a financial threat. You're saying to them, do what we want, this as a first step, do what we want, or else we're going to walk away from your project and leave you millions of dollars in the hole, as you're going to have to reshoot everything you shot, plus find another lead character to the movie. That's a crazy threat, okay? And that was just the first step. Then we know that's how they got to replace allegedly, how the same exact maneuver that they used to replace what his name is, Brian Tyler, the composer on the movie. Well, Taylor Swift is not going to give you this unless we get what we want. She wants this credit. She wants this credit. She wants her edits. And they were able to do this by threatening to release information about them. Right? Essentially saying, we're going to say that there were sexual harassment claims on set. And if we don't get what we want, then there's going to be big trouble for you. And even that Reddit post, that notorious Reddit post, let's not forget it. That person who ended up being correct about everything said that they used this behind the scenes to maneuver Sony to do what they want. And then we got to read Ryan demanding that they make a public statement taking full ownership over Blake's reputation being sunk by her own interviews. And that was when his PR person said, Justin, it's time to lawyer up. Ryan was like, here's what you're going to read out loud. This, to me, is a lot of evidence that Ryan himself quarterbacked this entire situation, okay? Also, don't forget, remember, Blake chose him to be her quote-unquote representative, who was present at the meeting when she presented her list of demands and screamed, and Ryan shouted at Justin Baldoni to resume filming. That meeting that took place in January in their penthouse, she quite literally spells that out in her own complaint, that she had a right to choose somebody to be her representative, and she chose Ryan. So you can't do now, I'm just a doting husband. You can't do, I did what any husband would do, and I just believed my woman, okay? No, you took it a step further. That's not what husbands do in terms of inserting themselves in the contractual negotiations. At that point, you are acting as more than a husband. Then their allegations, in my view, completely fall apart as you go on further into this lawsuit. In the next sentence, they claim, quote, that Ryan interfered with a contract without identifying what that contract is, what the provisions were allegedly breached, or even which of them were parties to it. So they're saying you're alleging that, you lost a contract, but you haven't been specific about that. That's not even a clever bit of lawyering right there. Baldoni's claim was extremely clear in their filed amended complaint that he was dropped from WME agency. So it is obviously way too early for them to have presented what his contract was or anything. That will come down the line. But as an initial filing, they're very clear, okay? And not only were they clear about that, but then the CEO of WME, Ari Emanuel, outright admitted that he dropped Baldoni to be loyal to, remember Baldoni, to be loyal to Blake and Ryan. He did this, so they're not going to win on that. When they get into the background of the case, they then try to diminish Ryan's role in a way that, in my opinion, completely maximizes it. When you look at the bottom of page 4, then they start getting into the nitty-gritty of what Ryan has done. And it's a lot. It's just a lot. He did, 1, demand that the Wayfarer parties publicly apologize for their so-called mistakes during production, right? 2, he was present during a meeting at the apartment that he shares with Miss Lively. 3, allegedly contributed some writing of his own to the script. By the way, going back to that extortion claim, how could I forget? Yes, Ryan also wrote his scene into Justin's movie. How did he maneuver that? How are they going to be able to prove that? Again, talking about a form of extortion. We're going to get into those dragon text messages. We're going to get into her saying she didn't feel seen, that Taylor Swift, this and that if he was a good little boy, his dragon wouldn't burn. If you behave, Khaleesi won't burn you. Ouchie, ouchie. That's a form, in my view, and again, this is my view, that is going to be a very strong claim. The judge is going to look at that evidence, look at the text messages and be like, yeah, this man was operating under duress, and then only to find out that if you want to prove that this woman lied to extort that, to take control of the movie over you, control, again, to make herself more than just an actress, the evidence is in the fact that not only did they commit to that, but then even after Justin gave her that, he found out that actually Ryan wrote it. So she lied. Ryan wrote the opening scene. So Ryan, you're not getting dismissed, okay? Your wife became essentially the owner of the movie, okay? And you became a writer on the movie in the most critical scene, from my understanding of people who love this book and follow everything, in the most critical scene. And so I think, yeah, all of that's going to become very relevant, and there's just going to be no chance that a judge is going to randomly dismiss him from this. And he then moves on to arguing jurisdiction. Again, I told you why that's important, because if it takes place in California versus New York, well, then if it takes place in New York, which Ryan desperately wants, then immediately that false light claim drops, because they have different laws as it pertains to how defamation is treated. And he knows that he will get more protection in New York. Again, an effort that is understood. A lawyer is always going to try to get you dismissed from the case. I just don't think that this is going to work when it comes to Ryan Reynolds. Oh, also, Skylar, I don't know if we pulled it. If we haven't, please do. But there's this really weird clip of Colleen Hoover going around. Have you guys seen this clip? Ryan, do we have that clip? Skylar, do we have that clip? Yeah, pull it, and then I will just read out a couple of our sponsors, and then we'll come back and get into it, because I just thought that was one of the craziest things. Anyways, I want to show you this headline showing you that Ryan in Variety is already coming out and basically saying, you can't sue me over your hurt feelings. Like I said, I can't imagine a more ridiculous argument to make. Like, nobody is thinking about beyond this lawsuit. They're very short-sighted here, and this was not the way to go, to basically say I'm a bully and I can get away with it, which explains why Brian Friedman, after reading through this filing to be dismissed, gave a pretty strong statement. Brian Friedman, my homie, my brother from another mother. This is what he had to say about it. He said, quote, Mr. Reynolds' exploitation of his enormous power in Hollywood continues, this time arrogantly asking to be dismissed from the case, despite his publicly documented involvement extending far beyond just being a supportive spouse. Mr. Reynolds was a key player in the scheme, defaming Justin around Hollywood, strong-arming WME into dropping Justin as a client, and trying to destroy Justin's career however possible. His fingerprints have been all over this smear campaign against Justin and the Wayfarer team since day one. Mr. Reynolds now attempts to reduce plainly cognizable claims to quote-unquote hurt feelings, sending a clear message that bullying is acceptable. That's how I felt when I read it. It's just like, bullying is acceptable. Oh, well, satire. I can make fun of you however I want. His statement continues, after lighting a match, Mr. Reynolds now seeks to run from the flames. It won't work. The Wayfarer party's claims against him are real, and they are serious. Mr. Reynolds can appear on as many sketch shows as he wants and feebly try to make light of his current situation. We will not stop until he is held accountable for his actions. Amen. That is how I feel as I follow this case. It's like I said, a very important case for us. Everything seems to be happening at the same time, by the way. I know we're not getting to JFK today, but I thought about this. I'm like, the JFK files, and obviously after JFK got shot, this may not be something that you know, but this is when the CIA, who obviously killed JFK alongside with the Mossad, in my viewpoint, I think those secret agencies worked together. I'll get into that tomorrow. But afterwards is when they launched that project, Operation Mockingbird, and they put the New York Times people on staff and were paying them to essentially persuade the public that everything that they saw wasn't real, and to try to button up this story about how JFK got shot. The New York Times played a piece in that. And now we're kind of fast forwarding to so many years later. Those files are getting released. We now recognize that the conspiracy theorists weren't conspiracy theorists. They were just people that were being gaslit by the media. And the chief gaslighters have been the New York Times. Like, they have always been a crucial piece of the propagandist puzzle. And so when I look at this and I'm going, it's all happening right now, it just feels like there's this great beast that's awakening. And you may not tie what's going on with Justin Baldoni to what happened to Harvey Weinstein or what happened to JFK, but it's all connected. It's about the media understanding that they can't do this anymore. They can't ruin lives and then try to gaslight us. And that's why I love how hard he's hitting the pietistic bastion of the New York Times. But similarly, Hollywood plays a role in this. They put out movies. They're a part of this propagandist effort. They build up people, like we discussed yesterday when we spoke about Taylor Swift and Jamie King, her other friend, famous friend who has just lost her child in a dispute hearing because of a drug addiction. They build up all of these people, and we're supposed to believe they're good people, that they're trustworthy people, that we should want to be like these people. And suddenly there's a lot of clarity being provided. And we're looking at you, Hollywood, a little bit differently. We've got questions certainly about Taylor Swift, even though we're still going to bop to London Boy forever. We've agreed on that as a society. And we're looking at people like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively and the New York Times. And that is why I am obsessed with this case, because it's just all coming down for everybody in a wonderful way. And we should be proud of that. We should be proud because it's actually bringing us closer, because we're finally identifying who the real enemies are. And it ain't us. We're warring with each other, and it benefits real power. And now we're looking at real power structures. Let me toss this first and foremost to PreBorn, one of our sponsors who you guys know I love. And it's largely because look at all the people like Andrea Bocelli. What a gift of a voice. That was actually one of my wedding songs, the wedding song that we danced to. Steph Curry, Justin Bieber, and Tim Tebow all have one thing in common, and it's that their mothers were encouraged to end their pregnancies. When a woman faces an unplanned pregnancy, she's often being pressured to end her child's life. She wants to make the right choice, but society and those around her are telling her, hey, that baby's not alive yet. That's where the Ministry of PreBorn steps in. PreBorn and their network of clinics offers compassionate, loving care to mothers and the support that they need to help them choose life, including a free ultrasound. Once a mother hears her child's heartbeat, she is twice as likely to choose life. So if you consider yourself pro-life, it is time to join forces with PreBorn. Together, we can empower women to choose life. Empowering the truth of motherhood transforms families and futures. One ultrasound is just $28, and $140 will help rescue 5 babies. When you donate monthly, you'll receive stories and pictures of lives that you've helped save. So to donate, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby. Or you can donate securely at preborn.com/Candace. Again, that website is preborn.com/Candace. I've also told you guys about the Wellness Company because hospitals and schools are on high alert and health officials are pushing the fear campaign again. That's why we released that MMR episode for free on our website, CandaceOwens.com. Now we have all these measles cases that are in the news, and talks of mandates are starting to creep back, but real protection doesn't come from the government orders. It starts with you, and it starts with you, the things that they don't tell you, which is that a strong immune system is the best defense. That's why the Wellness Company's elderberry gummies are packed with antioxidants, vitamin C, and zinc, and it will help keep your little ones healthy and resilient. But if pneumonia or an ear infection occurs, being prepared is everything. The kids' medical kit comes stocked with chewable amoxicillin and 5 other essential medications so that you're not scrambling if things take a turn. For adults, Dr. Peter McCullough recommends the Wellness Company's natural immunity blend to keep the immune system ready for battle. If a more serious complication arises, the medical emergency kit provides critical medications for early intervention. So do not get caught off guard. All it takes is you fill out a digital intake form, and within 1 to 2 weeks, your kit will arrive at your door. You can get prepared now by going to twc.health/Candace. Use code Candace and you'll save up to $45 off plus free shipping. That's twc.health/Candace and use code Candace today. Okay, do we have that video of Colleen? Oh my gosh, okay, amazing. So Colleen Hoover, obviously, she wrote the book and it's been a lot of drama, and we discussed her at length. Colleen Hoover, I think they were kind of trying to help her. I need to see her messages, kind of trying to help her to get her movie back, and they were going to help her, and she got high on the Ryan and Blake campaign, power campaign. She was tripping, and she kind of wanted to renege on everything, and suddenly the next thing you know, my cousin Baldoni's in the basement, and I don't think she's feeling too good about that. I think she's flying a little close to the sun herself. Anyways, she posted this really strange video, and there's no other way to say it. I don't have any bad feelings about her. I just want to get to the bottom of the truth. But this is, in fact, a strange video on Instagram. Take a listen to what she posted.
This may be either a new rock bottom for me or the best thing that's ever come out of my brain. Look at this. I poured Diet Pepsi into my ice cubes so that I will have the best Diet Pepsi I've ever had in my life. I'll let you know how it goes. So far, it looks pretty disgusting. I have hope. Here we go.
Okay, so you kind of get to it. She just sounds like look, this kind of content can play well. We can come out of this now. This kind of content can play well if you're trying to be funny, and maybe she was trying to be funny, but the issue is that she seems like she's on something. And I'm not saying that to be critical. I'm sure a lot of Xanax pills have been taken since the beginning of principal filming for this movie. All around, I think people were just popping anxiety pills because I'm feeling anxious, and I'm someone who doesn't pop pills. I feel anxious when I read the text messages, so I don't even know what people who are actually living the text messages went through. But she just seems like she's slurring her words a little bit, and like she's on some pill, and maybe it was just feeling super relaxed and thought that would be funny to post. But people are noticing that seemed strange. And so I just wanted to show you that. I'll let you to draw your own conclusions. Okay, a couple of updates for you. And again, I told you guys we are doing a quicker episode today, or I don't think I did actually tell you that. A quicker episode today because I got a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, I have crazy phone calls coming from everywhere, people wanting to ask questions. So first and foremost, regarding the Harvey series, there is some exciting news. He may be willing to speak earlier, and we are trying to carve out time for me and Harvey to speak on this show. And so we wanted to sort of press pause on some getting further into it because those are the two cases that we're looking at in New York, and everyone obviously who has watched the first 3 episodes understands why I have this very strong opinion that Harvey Weinstein was wrongfully convicted. Both in the case of Mimi Halei and Jessica Mann, these, in my viewpoint, there was plentiful evidence that these were consensual affairs and that they just wanted to hang him on the Me Too social justice campaign. And we have showed you those emails, we've showed you those text messages. It is just shocking to know that they allowed essentially just a banana court. Whatever goes, just convict the guy. It was a show trial. There's no question about that. And I can say that because the appellate courts agreed with me. They didn't know why certain decisions were made by the judge. The judge appeared to be corrupt. The mayor's office asked that judge to recuse himself because they did not like the way that he was handling that case. It seemed personal to him. And Gloria Allred has quite a record, and she also has a record of bullying her own clients. I think there's going to be some really crazy, insane things that happen as this trial is coming up, and I want to make sure that we are timing this so that everyone is paying attention, because I do want the TikTok internet sleuths to be paying attention to the case this time. This case suffered because cameras were not allowed in the courtroom. And I think if cameras were allowed in the courtroom, the public being able to actually watch these things would have understood that what was happening was not right. The same thing with the Amber Heard case. Once you can actually hear and see all the arguments and you're glued to your screen, you then recognize, wait a second, what the media is trying to sell me is not actually what I'm watching. And they always want to prevent that from happening. I actually don't know if they're going to allow cameras in this time, but it won't matter because I will be up to date on this lawsuit. And I've told you what I believe. Obviously, why I'm invested in this is because I'm about to give birth to my 3rd son, and we as women can't allow this to exist. We don't need to believe in Harvey Weinstein as a moral person or want him to be our father or want him to be our husband, and nor should we, but we should want actual justice served to every single person, no matter what we think about them. So I wanted to let you know that as well. A lot of stuff coming out of the Daily Wire. Didn't want to update you guys on all of that right now. I do feel more strongly that the situation, that there is definitely more than meets the eye of what happened with Jeremy Boring. Every indication that I'm getting right now is that this was not an amicable split. And by the way, from the strained statements, even the fact that he shared an Axios announcement as opposed to having shared an announcement that went out on the Daily Wire platform kind of has indicated to the public that it was not as amicable as they tried to make it sound. My understanding is he wasn't even allowed to formally address the employees face to face. And so we're obviously following that story as well. We will see what happens. But overall, I mean, like I didn't speak to any of the journalists because I don't wish bad on the Daily Wire. I really don't. Like I told you, I have friends there that work there, and I hope that things are looking up for them now. I hope that they are optimistic about the future and they maybe feel like they can do more things. And so I don't think it helps to wish bad on an entire company because of how the public may feel about one individual who said a lot of statements in public that they disagreed with. I think you have to try to compartmentalize your feelings more than that. So anyways, that is all the updates that I have for you regarding Harvey. Let me give you guys some time. Let me jump into the comments and see what you guys are saying. Oh, it looks like my computer has frozen. Oh no, Skylar, my computer has frozen. Everything is over. Somebody has to come and bring me something. This happens sometimes. When you do a live show, you just don't know what's going to happen. But while he's bringing me his laptop and we're trying to solve for that, let me tell you about American financing, because interest rates have dropped and it's time to take advantage. A lot of Americans are struggling to keep up with everyday bills, eggs, coffee, and you're reaching for the credit cards to pay for this. So if you're a homeowner, interest rates have fallen into the fives. It's nearly a quarter of the average credit card rate. American Financing is helping homeowners like you save an average of $800 a month by tapping into your home's equity and wiping out high interest debt. And the best part is there are no upfront fees to get started. Credit card rates are insane. And if you're carrying a balance every month, you're stuck in an endless cycle. You can break free today by calling American Financing and seeing how much you could be saving. And if you start now, you may even delay the next 2 mortgage payments. So call 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210. Or you can visit AmericanFinancing.net/Owens. Again, that's AmericanFinancing.net/Owens. Why is my computer dead? So crazy. Skylar rescuing me from the back. Okay, here's what we've got. We have Alyssa. Alyssa writes, I think Ryan Reynolds is trying to get out of this case and maybe his relationship with Blake, because if they lose this case, they lose everything. This just dug him deeper into his narcissistic hole. Yeah, like I said, it's a pretty standard legal maneuver to try to get it dismissed. Like that's the first thing you're going to do, because you're going to be like, why spend any extra fees on this? Don't think it's going to work. I think they've already lost everything in terms of their social standing, no matter what. So whether or not they want to accept that or believe that these filings are not good for them, the best thing they could have done would have been to have settled this lawsuit. The best thing they could have done would have been not to do it. Just not to do any of this, not to be insane people in Hollywood, but he just couldn't help himself. Kat TL writes, Lively was under contract, so if she walked away, couldn't Sony sue her? Yeah, but if she's making the threat that she's going to go for them for sexual harassment, it drastically changes the lawsuit. And at that point, it's not good to be litigious. People think it's like such an easy process. It's actually counter to good business to be litigious, right? Because you're spending a bunch of money on legal fees. And at the end of the day, you don't win. Nobody really wins in this. Like no matter what, Justin Baldoni is probably bigger than he ever has been. Does he want to be known for this? Was this the thing that he was trying to make his mark on the world on? Probably not. And that's why they're arguing here that no matter what, he has to endure this for the rest of his life. His wife, his kids, they're going to have to endure this for the rest of their lives, and know that when they're meeting with people in Los Angeles, that they're all thinking about this and people are picking a side, even though it does seem to be largely favorable for him. And on the Sony side, you don't want to have a sexual assault lawsuit, even if you're proven right in the end. The pain to go through it as they're going through it right now. Well, Sony's not listed actually as a litigant, but it's still not good for Sony. Right? You want things to be amicable. A good leader wants things to be amicable. It's Archie writes, any man that kisses another man like that, acting or not, is 100% gay and nobody can tell me otherwise. Hashtag everything is fake and gay. It's Archie right? We should have done a vote, but unfortunately my internet is just completely crashed. So I can't do that vote, but we should have done a vote on whether or not this was understandable. If you have, show of hands in the chat, if you have ever, as a man, just for the men, if you have kissed a man for longer than 25 seconds because you're just so confident in your masculinity. I'm not seeing any hands raised, so I don't know what's going on with that. Not sure what's going on with that. I have now lost the page you just had. Ryan Schwartz writes, is Mahmoud Khalil being terrorized by ICE? They're relocating him around a lot. Oh, yes. I did have an update for you guys on that. They moved him back to New Jersey. And I want to say this because Then after Mahmoud Khalil, which I thought was a ridiculous case for them to have taken place and to make him the poster board for this, they then actually did something that made sense, where there was a student, and I'm blanking on her name because I don't have my notes in front of me and my computer has crashed, but she got deported. And what was her name? Rasha. Yeah. And she was here on a student visa. Okay. So she was really just a visitor. She didn't have a green card. And she went back. She went to the funeral of someone, Nasrallah, who is legally on the list of terrorists for America. Now, whether you agree with that terrorist designation or not, if you're going to come visit a country and then you're going to take a vacation to go to the funeral of somebody who is legally on the list of terrorists from the country that you are visiting, you got to expect to be deported. Like, that actually made so much more sense in terms of the arguments that Trump's team was purporting to make. With Mahmoud Khalil, still don't see it. Now it's been confirmed by the AP, at least, that he was not in CUAD. That was a talking point from a lot of people, but it never actually came from the Trump administration. They never made that claim. He wasn't passing out flyers. It's like they're just strenuously trying to make this square fit into a circle hole. And I don't understand why. I feel like none of that is actually necessary. So anyways, last comment here. Brittany Douglas asks, what are your plans during your leave? Do you have pre-recorded interviews or do we have to go on leave too? This has been a terrible question that I've been avoiding answering. I am sorry, but you guys are going to have to go on leave too. There's no pre-recorded content, but we're going to listen. We've got 6 weeks left and we're going to make it the best 6 weeks ever. Actually, maybe less than 6 weeks left. We've got all of April. Okay. And whatever is left of March, and we're going to make it the best 6 weeks ever. Hopefully we get Harvey Weinstein here. Definitely we'll have a crazy update with you regarding Brigitte Macron. We're going to look into the Brian Kohberger case. So let's not think about, our impending death. Let's instead celebrate our life, the life that we have left on this podcast. And also, the book club will still be going on. So if you remember the book club, you will see me. You'll probably meet my baby first because, they're kind of just strapped on to you for the first couple of months. They don't really kind of do anything. They're so cute. They're so cute and helpless. And they get just so, pathetic, and it's just all so sweet. So you'll probably meet the little guy first. And then also you can just go on my website and buy some merch. We've got some great merch. Let's check out all this new anti-feminist merch, getting ready for the book launch of Make Him a Sandwich. It's good to miss each other. We need to miss each other a little bit, but no worries, guys. I will be back. And sorry for the late episode today. Like I said, a lot going on. We will definitely try to get you all the updates on JFK tomorrow, and we will see you then.